Just realized y'all can't hear me. Y'all ready to start?
Yep.
I muted myself. That was pretty awesome. All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with Chuck Anderson. And with John Burr.
Hello.
How's it going, gentlemen? We've had I feel like a very exciting weekend of basketball. We're here to wrap it up on a Sunday. I'm
still happening.
Still happening. Right now, the season of life that it is, just the actual season, the literal season, it being fall, it being a time when TV shows come back, it being time the NBA has returned. I'm saying I have very few interests in my life, yet right now I find myself balancing a full day of NFL football, a full slate of NBA games. Sunday has become podcast day for me. I'm recording multiple podcasts, and then I have to squeeze in the little guilty pleasures of Succession and Curb Your Enthusiasm. It takes me all week to get my Sunday done. I don't get done with my Sunday until like Thursday or Friday.
It is extremely Keith of you to slide in. I'm frankly still reeling from TV shows are coming back. And then also for you to push very hard for us to record on Sundays, only to find out that Sunday is the day you are indeed busy.
No, I like it. I have volunteered to make Sunday my busy day because like the night thing was not working great with my schedule. But as far as like my things that I don't get money for, which is watch HBO and watch football, it then becomes much more difficult. So I'm trying to squeeze it all in.
There's self-sabotage, and then there's the hosts of Fastbreak Breakfast. Another level of self-sabotage that other people can only dream. We are the Mount Rushmore of self-sabotage to the extent that there is no fourth head.
And I'm also like super moved that we went to Sundays, not after a year of me having to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Tuesdays, but because Keith needed to watch Succession. I don't know.
I don't get around to Succession until the end of the week. That's the way it works. I was always Sundays were fine. I thought we were doing Monday night for you, Chuck.
Why would I want to work on a day that I had to like at night?
It was probably for me. Most consistent for me.
It's not who did what. Now we're here on a Sunday afternoon, and maybe it's going to keep being Sunday afternoons during the NBA season. Thank you, dear listeners, for sticking tight with us as we slightly modulate the release date of Fast Break Breakfast episodes. Coming out hot and early, hot and fresh on Monday morning, afternoon-ish. It takes a while for this loaf to rise in the oven once we finish recording it, because I do have things to watch. Maybe that's the actual reason. Anyway, gentlemen, have we had breakfast on this fine day? John, what was your breakfast?
Yogurt.
Okay. Was it good? Was it plain yogurt? Was it Icelandic skyr yogurt? Was it Kroger
yogurt is my least favorite breakfast. It's very much the missionary sex of breakfast. It's just like, well, I guess this is edible. I don't even remember what it was. It wasn't plain yogurt, but it was an immemorable flavor, which leads me to believe that it was perhaps strawberry. Oh. Maybe even vanilla. Just rough stuff. But I was on the move. I had to do it. Had to get it done.
Yogurt on the move, not easy.
No.
It came out of a tube.
Yeah.
You ate children's yogurt.
Children's yogurt.
Yeah. They don't make grown-up yogurt in tubes, as far as I know.
Yeah. Nope.
It was on the way to an airport Uber yogurt.
I mean, I guess like a normal yogurt, if you squeezed it, you could call that a tube, just like Yoplait and just give it all the.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm ready for space food at this point. Like, I think they're starting to serve cubes, and like they're like marketing it to hipsters. So I'm sure that soon I'll be rubbing cubes of food onto my chest.
If that's where the nutrients come from, why not?
Can I get a patent on food through my armpit as a deodorizer?
Yes, I don't think anyone has tried that because
ready.
it's off-putting and a little nauseating.
Yeah,
But
that's terrifying.
yeah,
Let's
Chuck,
go.
what was your? Do you have a breakfast? Do you have a good breakfast?
I had some kolaches. You ever had a kolache?
I don't know what a kolache is.
John, you know what a kolache is?
Oh yeah, were you at McGaw?
No.
Because
I'm at
McGaw's donuts. If you're not feeling sweet, you can go savory with a kolache.
So a kolache is basically this like dough ball, but on the inside, some meats. So I made them this morning with the girlfriend. We're still together.
Back.
For those keeping up for now.
If you missed any
those
episodes,
yes. But we made some vegan kolaches. I had some plant-based breakfast sausage, some vegan cheeses, a proprietary blend of Kroger cheeses, some plant-based eggs. Shout out Just Egg. If you eat any plant-based eggs, you should mess with Just Egg.
Feeling a lot better about my breakfast.
This was incredible. You're wrong.
A proprietary blend of Kroger cheeses is one of my favorite sentences I've heard.
That's what I come up with. That's what I bring to the show. But yeah, I guarantee you my breakfast was tremendously. It had some serrano peppers in it. You're looking like a real breakfast. This is a hefty, like Czechoslovakian breakfast, but it was just done in a way that was less like harmful to animals.
So Chuck, at McGaw's, where I get me donuts and sometimes my kolaches, let me tell you about their kolaches and tell me if I've been hoodwinked. Their kolache in the center is tiny hot dog.
So that is a style of
Okay.
kolache.
Yes.
And if
The
it's
corn
a
dog
hot
style?
dog, yeah, that's more of just like a pig in a duvet.
Yeah.
It's not a blanket. It's like a fully covered.
Yeah, we
situation.
can't get total Moses Moody.
Pig
just yet.
and duvet sounds actually like a more elevated version of the pig and blanket. But
That's what I'm saying. It's just extra comfort, extra cushioning.
all right.
Yeah.
New tangent. I know we're waiting for Keith's breakfast, but what is harder, averaging a triple double for a season or getting a duvet back into a duvet cover?
Oh, I know how to do it by myself in less than 5 minutes.
Wow, is that military training?
No, YouTube.
Oh,
Whoa.
Same deal.
Yeah. You flip the duvet cover inside out, and then you lay the duvet on top. Then you roll the duvet and the duvet cover together like in like a style. And then you flip the edges around, and then you unroll it, and you've got your duvet cover set. It is 5 minutes. It changed my life.
That's incredible, Chuck. We had a children's toy that was like a tent, but it was like shaped like a Volkswagen van, but it rolled up in a tiny, tiny circle, like a tiny, tiny circle, like the size of an oversized Frisbee. You unzipped it, you pulled it out, and it was like, bam. And then it was this huge tent. And we gave it back to my parents because I got too frustrated trying to put it up. Like the thing putting it up, like we put it up once, took forever. Like you have to roll it into this tiny little circle, and you have to bend the frame just right so it holds taut in this circle. And I was like, this was way too much work. And I'm not one who pushes through obstacles.
No.
So I'm like, listen, I can't have this.
Much like you don't like charges, you're not taking any charges for duvet covers.
Listen, when I played basketball, I tried to draw charges, and I thought they were noble and they were good and the right thing to do. And maybe in the levels of basketball I was playing, they were not directly leading to injuries because no one was jumping over everybody else. But when I watch the NBA game, why are we incentivizing, undercutting these athletes flying to the air? That's all.
It's like the B-7. It's like if it's in your skill set and you can play it, you're going to use it. It's in your arsenal. But then once you see it done by professionals, you're like, don't put that anywhere. Don't do that.
I don't think we should B- any sevens.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
I
Believe
think that's illegal.
My breakfast, I had an omelet with some jalapenos and salsa.
Hey now.
Good. Yeah, it was good. Nice and
omelet?
Spicy omelet.
Wait, is Sundays? I thought your Sundays was Panera.
So Sundays are usually donuts. Saturdays are usually Panera. We drove from Knoxville, though. We were visiting the in-laws. So left Knoxville, drank coffee in Knoxville by the time I got to Nashville, then made the omelet. Also picked up a 2-liter of Coca-Cola.
What?
The in-laws, once like 15 years ago, I was like, they're like, what do you want to drink? And I was like, Coke. just like that moment, I said I would take a Coke out of the things they were offering me. So since then, they usually, when we go visit, which is pretty frequent, they're just like, here's a 2-liter of Coke for you if you need it, which is just, they're nice people, lovely people. And I don't even drink soda hardly ever. But and as I've explained on the show before, because I chose bags of candy over soft drinks, that was a decision. I'm like, if I'm going to get my sugar, I'm getting it straight from bags of candy, not from liquid sugary drinks. But they gave it to me, so I'm taking it. So now I'm just mainlining, no chaser, just the straight hard.
Wasn't
Coca-Cola.
the rule your wife had, as long as you don't smoke or drink Coke, you can do whatever you want?
Yeah.
And now,
well, it's her parents. Her parents get, I mean, what am I supposed to turn down the gift from her parents?
The loophole has been found.
That is the rule. Anyway, those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, we move to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It is usually the first time we talk about the NBA, which allegedly this show is about. Who has something that they would like to apologize for? John, let's start with you. What do you need to make right?
You just want to continue my whirlwind apology tour, which the train has not yet left the Chicago station because I've already apologized to the Bulls and their fans. But I'd like to further apologize to DeMar DeRozan, who, I mean, it was only a few years ago that I referred to him as a superstar level talent before, like, really. But this past offseason, I talked about how excited I was to see the Spurs sans DeRozan.
How's that going for you?
But it's like double-edged here. It's very painful both ways. The Spurs are tanking in a very surreptitious manner. And then furthermore, DeMar looks very at home on Bulls. And he like, it's funny because I mentioned the word superstar, but like, if DeMar DeRozan is your second or third best player, that's a very good situation to be in.
How the turntables.
Yeah, like if he's your best player,
Really?
It can be kind of grueling. But
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan as like a best supporting actor nominee, that's like full on Bill Murray type stuff.
He's been incredible so far. I don't know if is it just a hot start? It feels like just a hot start. He's wearing that Ronnie Brewer Bulls jersey. He's getting a little magic out of that, and he's just on fire right now.
He's a guy that helps them as far as the role that he plays. Like, I think it's really great for Zach LaVine to not feel the level of pressure that he felt, especially at the end of games, because he's not the best, ball handler in pressure situations. Whereas DeMar DeRozan has become this guy who is an excellent ball handler in pressure situations and knows what to do and whether to engage himself or engage his teammates. And, it's kind of taken the sting off of the Bulls are doing really well. And that's with like Vucci Maine not looking great for the Bulls, especially
that's one way to say bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially against like, if it's up against a good defensive center, it's very terrifying for Bulls fans. But when you have so many guys and furthermore, like, I know I'm mostly apologizing to DeMar DeRozan, but watching DeMar play with Lonzo Ball, having two players with that level of basketball intelligence is pretty joyous to watch.
Here's a quick pop quiz.
Sure.
Not an official game of scones. Not going to play the music. Not going to sing the song. Pop quiz. Who averages more combined points or rebounds this season? Nick Vucevic or Wendell Carter Jr.?
I think I know the answer. Usually the questions tell me the answer, and I'm going to say Wendell Carter Jr.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. So it's very close. It's very, very close. Who has a higher?
Wendell Carter Jr. can't out average Mo Bamba at this point.
Wendell Carter Jr. is averaging 12.9 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game. Vucevic 13.4 rebounds, so a half a point. 13.4 points per game, so a half a point more and a half rebound more. 10.8 rebounds per game. Here's one: who has a higher field goal percentage? Wendell Carter Jr. or Nick Vucevic?
I'll go
with Carter on that one.
Yeah, that's Carter. Comfortably, 49% to 42%. Who has the higher 3-point percentage? Wendell Carter Jr. or Nick Vucevic?
Carter's taking them. I'll go with Carter.
Yeah, Wendell Carter Jr. shooting 36% from three Nick Vucevic at 25.6%.
And to tie into 3-point percentage and DeMar DeRozan, he's shooting 42% from three.
Woo!
That's not going to continue.
That's
Philadelphian. He had 3 or 4 in one game.
It's Chuck. That's end of games too. Chuck, that's Philadelphian. That's what we call that right now. I don't know if you've seen what's happening in Philly, but good God, y'all.
We'll get to what's happening in Philly. But yeah, Wendell Carter Jr. is doing all right. Nick Vucevic is doing pretty terribly. And also, that doesn't even include the Franz Wagner explosion.
28
with the pick the Bulls gave up, Franz Wagner destroyed the Timberwolves single-handedly, it felt like. Anyway, I'll do my apology.
Anthony and Franz Wagner. That's what you're
Speaking
worried
of
about.
Philadelphian, my apology goes to Joel Embiid. And it's a very specific apology. I had mentioned, I thought one way to clean up the NBA game, I mentioned it a couple times. One of my more outlandish and bold ideas to clean up the NBA game is to experiment with limiting the number of times players can fall down in a game. My thinking is that players are falling down on purpose many times, which is true. This is not up for debate. They fall down on purpose trying to deceive the officials or to influence the officials to get foul calls. They're constantly diving on the ground after field goal attempts. I feel like it's a little bit risky. It also leads to missed calls because they're trying to trick the referees. So I thought, what if we tried this out maybe in the G League to say, listen, you can only fall down 5 times every game or set a limit. Well, some of the big problems with this would be guys like Anthony Davis, who someone sent me a stat that he averages, I think 6.3 fall downs per game, which he would have to cut it back a little bit. And also let me know I needed to lower my number. If Anthony Davis is only at like 5 or 6, all right, maybe you're only allowed to fall down 3 times per game. But then I had a couple people let me know, including Power Patreon supporter Patrick Kirkner, the Philadelphia expert,
Captain Kirk,
that doctors had advised Joel Embiid to fall down in games to dissipate the pressure put on his ligaments and tendons and joints or whatever. They were saying falling down was a way to actually prevent injury for him. Don't try to come to a sudden stop with your 7-foot, 270-pound frame and put all that stress on your knees. No, big fella, just go into a controlled roll.
This sounds like Aaron Rodgers, my medical team type stuff. This is hocus pocus.
I don't know if it was a Players Association approved doctor, if it was a league approved doctor. All I know is someone sent me an article that I skimmed and maybe didn't even click. I might have just read the headline.
This is TB12.
It feels like he should, if this is true, have hired like a combat actor coach,
stunt man,
like a stunt double to like show him how to fall correctly. That would be
ideal. They're like, hey, jump over this thing. When you hit that pad, make sure you roll or both your legs will snap. So you get that training in. And apparently because Embiid had a background perhaps in like volleyball and soccer, he was more accustomed. Maybe a normal 7-foot stiff just playing basketball wouldn't be able to adapt to throwing his body on the ground as a way to prevent injury. But I'm no doctor. And I guess my idea to limit the number of fall downs was not in Joel Embiid's best health. So for that, I am sorry.
I wonder if Karl Malone or Dennis Rodman, after doing professional wrestling training, ever took a flat back bump on the parquet when they got fouled a little bit. Just go full flat back, sell it, take a 10 count, a standing 8 count. I mean, these are the type of skills that players should use.
I agree.
Chuck, what's your, you have anything you need to make right? You have an apology for us?
So I thought the Cleveland Cavaliers were trash. And look, they're not great. They don't have a really, their point differential is of a, below 500 team, but they have won 3 in a row. They beat the Raptors. They look good. I watched Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley play against each other. Evan Mobley giving me like flashbacks of a young Chris Bosh who's better defensively now than Chris Bosh. Took a while to become a really good defensive player. Evan Mobley's like a finished product on defense.
Mobley looks like one of the best defenders in the league already.
He's incredible. I was looking at hustle stats.
You were doing what?
Yeah. So yes, what?
I know. He's
who taught you how to do that? Who taught you how to access that, Chuck?
I was just fiddling around on the NBA app and found it. But he's
Wow,
contesting.
this is walking upstairs, finding your son on the computer. Who taught you how to find that? Hustle stats? Who taught you how to find the hustle stats page?
He's contesting like 16 shots a game, which is like 3 or 4 shots more than the next guy. He's doing incredible work.
That's like Joe Rogan shot protestation. That's incredible.
But he's fun to watch. He's kind of has a smooth offensive game around the rim. He knows how to take a shot, and he's incredible on both ends of the floor. So I didn't know how they would fill their like wing position, but Chetty Osman is
Osman's like most improved player.
It's like
I think Chetty Osman's only playing because like Isaac Okoro skinned his knee though.
But like Chetty Osman's stats are unbelievable. He had one of the worst shooting percentages in the NBA last year, and now he's making all his shots. And that, like, could that honestly be the only difference? This is a totally unsustainable 6-4 start from the Cavaliers. Because Chetty Osman's on fire.
I fully think that I will apologize for this take eventually.
This is the old apology. Set up a future apology.
Yeah.
Well, what about this? You have here's like this feels like tailor-made for sports radio topic. You have Colin Sexton.
Yes.
Down from 24 points per game last year to under 17 this season, but his team is 6-4, much better. You have De'Aaron Fox down from, 25 points per game last year, down to 18 points per game this year, but his team is 5-4. Wait, is that record right?
Who cares?
It is. But his team is 5-4. Is this, hey, you do a little bit less, worry about the team, and you have the team success that follows? I'm not going to make that argument, but it's just something I've noticed. Those guys scoring a little bit less, but they're having more team success.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad argument so long as you don't make the argument that, oh, De'Aaron Fox sucks now or Colin Sexton sucks now. I actually think those are two players who I think are winning basketball players and can be asked to do different roles and don't necessarily have to be the me type players that they have been thus far in their careers. Like, I like those guys, and I like that they're experiencing success. And I think it's okay that De'Aaron Fox might be supplanted by more complete players like Tyrese Halliburton and Davion Mitchell. They can play different kinds of roles. And I think Colin Sexton was never built to be this guy. He's really going to be have a better NBA career being, a supplementary player, a la, DeMar DeRozan that we've already talked about. Like if you watch the Cavs, they're better when Garland runs the show. Garland is a better facilitator, a better, team basketball player. But if Colin Sexton can just be asked to provide 17 and be a go-to guy when they need it, that's very good for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Garland is a setup point guard, and Sexton just is like the scorer type. Arguing against this thing I've kind of posited is just they're not doing it necessarily. They're not scoring less on purpose. They're missing shots.
Yes.
De'Aaron Fox is, I think, 1 for 25 on pull-up threes this year. He's shooting 16% on threes. Sexton is down from 37% on threes last season to 26% this season. There are more options, so you're being asked to do less, and there are fewer shots available, but they're not being more efficient. They're actually just missing their shots. And so maybe there's somewhere their teams can get even better.
Never mind.
Well, so sorry to trick you up there with that one. But anyway, those were our apologies. After our apologies, before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, I'm going to give you a word from our sponsor, the Memphis Grizzlies. Let's get it, Memphis. Get the biggest games and the best giveaways, guaranteed your seats to this year's best matchups like the Lakers, Warriors, Nets, and more with all new 10 and 22 game packs. Select from 2 10-game packs or upgrade your Grizz experience with the half-season 22 game pack. Packs start as low as $11 per game. Call 901-888-HOOP. or shop online at grizzlies.com today. All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? Chuck, what's your steak and eggs?
So we got some young players. I got a through line this week. Some young players giving us good takes. But today I want to talk about Moses Moody. he has some lofty goals, right? He comes into the NBA. He's a first round pick. He's playing in the G League. He's not like a superstar, but he's asked about what his experience with success is, and if the NBA is different than what he thought it would be. And he says it's not as different as I anticipated it to be. Whenever you get something you want, you finally get it. You want something else. All I ever wanted was to make it to the NBA. Now I want to be an all-star. If you give a pig a pancake, then he'll want some syrup. Now, I'm not even going to bring up the fact that this is the Breakfast Theme NBA podcast. This is one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. And it deals with the human condition so beautifully, uses the colloquial tongue of America so well. It gives me when I read it, it made me feel things. I went and listened to it. I don't do that. I don't read a quote and then go find the person who said it and see it in video. I don't do that, but I did it with this because it's amazing.
Well, Chuck,
bless you.
Can I interject with a question submitted by a much beloved member of the Fastbreak Breakfast Patreon community?
Oh, we got a question on it. Let's do it.
Magnus asks, celebrating Moody telling us about pigs, pancakes, and syrups, do you have a favorite breakfast-related idiom?
I mean,
or is this
it? There's no greater one at this point. What did we have before? Don't count your chickens before they hatch. What were the other ones? I don't know.
Breakfast is the most important thing.
Which we try to make a catchphrase. That's not an idiom. It's just
that's just a line from Arrested Development. That's not an idiom.
I never knew that. I never knew. I just learned that.
What are the is count your chickens before they're hatched? I mean,
I don't even know if that's
in a form.
What are other breakfast idioms?
Gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet.
Oh, okay. There we go. That's a great one.
But I like part this one better.
Yeah.
I mean, Moses Moody showing like sage, like old soul wisdom in that interview. I'm like, I wasn't even really ready for it.
What about bring home the bacon? Bring home the bacon.
Oh, sure. Why not?
I just Googled. Here's one. Never heard of this. Keep your eye on the donut, not the hole.
Easy.
Is that?
I love that.
What does that
Daniel
mean?
Craig and Knives Out? What does that mean? Trying to find meaning there.
What's your favorite breakfast idiom is an impossible question, which takes years of research to put us on the spot with this.
I just love that Magnus, I believe, is from Germany. I want to know his favorite breakfast.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's not even an English first speaker. Germans probably have a list of just tons and tons of incredible breakfast idioms that have not made it to the English language.
Something about have like streusel.
Yeah, they probably have like single words that encapsulate the entirety of a breakfast
Lebensraum.
Yeah, that's pretty excellent.
Shout out Magnus.
John, what's your best thing?
So I've had a lot of fun watching people fail this week. I don't know if you caught the end of the Hawks. I don't know if you caught the end of the Hawks Suns game or the Thunder's Lakers game, but just like lots of like, I don't want to win this game shenanigans, which is like kind of my favorite kind of shenanigans. You had Devin Booker missing free throws, leading to Trae Young missing so many shots that he like gave up last shot rights to Bogdan Bogdanovic, who, spoiler alert, missed the shots. And then an all-timer guarding Garris moment by Russell Westbrook. Just, you know how like a lot of times we like to pretend that superstars can turn on the defensive know-how?
Yeah.
Well, I think we have startling proof that Russell Westbrook cannot turn on the defensive know-how as he just leaves guys for wide open, not shots, but like dunks.
He left Dort at the end of the game. Before then, he also left Kenrich Williams in the corner, which is not like a huge threat, but Kenrich Williams in the corner is a much greater threat than Josh Giddey from the wing. So like when the ball rotation, he leaves Williams to go guard Giddey. Giddey's like, thank you. This is what I hoped you wanted to do. And that's how the Lakers got down by 3 before
do you think this is like
Shea knocked that half quarter? Sorry, go ahead.
Do you think this is like, because he's been in the league, he has like Hall of Fame success, MVP, triple double average. Like this isn't like this is a resume of a player that should have the composure at the end of games that belies that sort of resume. He doesn't. And this isn't. I'm just like floored by the psychology of it. Like what's going on in his head?
Chuck, no one has taken more go-ahead or to tie baskets in the league than Russell Westbrook over the past 5 years, and he shoots 19% on those baskets.
I think that stat, John, is 3-pointers. It's three-pointers.
Oh, yeah. Even worse.
No, but
worse.
No player has taken more to either tie the game or go ahead 3-pointers at the end of games than when Westbrook, and he's shooting 19% on them. People were saying, why didn't the Thunder foul in that situation?
Stat,
yeah. Like, why don't they foul that situation? Like, no, they know Westbrook is going to shoot, and that's good.
So,
it's probably going to work out fine.
From a psychological standpoint, Chuck, I don't know if you can apply such rationality to Russell Westbrook. This is just how it goes.
If you have that season, if any human being had the MVP season that Russell Westbrook had, where he made so many game-tying and game-winning three-pointers, despite not being a good three-point shooter, I don't know how you, like...
In the words of Desmond Bain, victory has defeated him.
And you say, like, I can't... Like, that's not going to happen. It feels good. It feels good coming off my hand, or I feel like I'm going to recapture that moment.
So maybe it is like he is so confident because he is such a great player. And I'm not saying Russell Westbrook's trash. Like, that's not the take here. The take is what happens in that moment with him where he's making these like rookie mistakes, like these kind of like basic basketball mistakes. And I'm not a guy who could break down film, but I know when somebody's making a bonehead error.
You can break down that Russell Westbrook end of game film, my friend.
I'll
let you get the telestrator and everything.
You say, here's the basket. Here's the player.
Here's Lou Dort. Right.
That you see how the pass leads him directly towards the basket because no one is.
I love that Westbrook is also telling other people what to do on defense as it happens.
Oh yeah. Well, that's also he might have picked that. He's only been in the Lakers for a very brief time. He might have picked that up from LeBron James. LeBron James is a guy who goes in for an open dunk, and then LeBron just points to everyone else. It's like,
I've watched DeAndre Jordan like multiple times make no effort to make a play on the ball, and then chew out the other players on his team who also did not make an effort to make a play on.
Another instance you could have added to the watching players fail in the final moments is the end of the Celtics Mavericks game where the Celtics,
that's a coach failing
inexplicably. Well, Ime Udoka said that was not the strategy, but he did not communicate it well to Marcus Smart. So like Udoka took the blame for it, but he said that that wasn't that's not a strategy. I can't believe that was a strategy.
I would also say that was not my strategy.
But Marcus Smart commits the foul on purpose.
So the
Celtics don't get the ball back, and they give the Mavericks the final shot, which led to heroics from Luka Doncic with the buzzer beater. Yeah.
So we're supposed to believe that Marcus Smart, for all my peccadillos with him, one of the smartest defenders in the game, headiest players in the game, just decided to foul then right after talking to his coach. Pretty sure the coach told him.
I'm surprised a guy like Marcus Smart didn't understand the game situation better and would have at least said like, no, I'm not going
that's
to.
That's what makes me think he had to do it.
Or said like, no, why would we possibly do that? Anyway, I'll do my best thing.
Amazing end of game.
My best thing is somewhat related to some end of game situations. You had a couple of quotes. There were a couple of quotes from the past couple of days that I found very, very amusing. One was from the end of game against the Rockets and Nuggets, where some Aaron Gordon heroics got the Nuggets ahead of the lowly Rockets. But then on the final play of the game, Nikola Jokic swatted back a shot from Jason Tate. After the game, Jason Tate said that, he felt like he got fouled on the final play. Then in a moment of clarity and remorse and self-reflection, he took to Twitter and said, upon second thought, no, that was a clean play. That was a good block. So I like Jason Tate recognizing that, I saw the replay and that's a clean block. That's a good block. I loved that quote. I also loved Joel Embiid.
That was the equivalent of I got hacked. Man, in many ways.
And then we honestly had
personal responsibility. I love that.
It is. No, he went through. He said, all right, I looked at it. Speaking of we got hacked, Karl Anthony Towns liked a tweet about leaving Minnesota and then literally did the I got hacked thing. He said, guys, I changed the password. We're good to go. No, my other thing I enjoyed was Joel Embiid. And we talked about how Philadelphia, John alluded to it, the Sixers have been knocking down so many threes at the end of games. The Sixers have the best offense in the NBA. They're basically the best three-point offense in the NBA. Maybe the Warriors. But they are doing incredible on offense. And one of the heroes from their big win over the Bulls was Georges Niang. Niang, who was let go by the Jazz, possibly because he pooped the bed in the playoffs, couldn't make any three-pointers. But Joel Embiid was asked after the victory what were his thoughts of George Niang, and Joel Embiid said, truthfully, before he got here, I thought he sucked. And that is the open honesty and candor.
Wow.
I love in our basketball players.
No wonder Ben Simmons is staying home, man. How many people can handle the truth bombs that Joel Embiid drops on the regular?
He did go on to say that he's been great for the locker room. He's really, really funny. He's been playing incredible. He likes the guy a lot, but I love Joel just letting us know that, he thought he was terrible. Turns out he's been playing quite well for the Sixers. Anyway, those were our best things. Let's go to the opposite of the best thing, the worst thing, the cream of wheat worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw last week? Chuck, what's your worst thing?
So I love Anthony Edwards, or at least I did. I love his game. He's a walking, rolling, awesome take machine. He's funny. He's self-aware. But he has this take on peanut butter, which I can't stand for. Quote, on creamy peanut butter, it spreads better on the bread. I've not had crunchy. I wouldn't even try it. I'm a big texture guy when it comes to food. It makes the peanut butter and jelly. In my family, we never bought crunchy. It'll stay right there in the aisle. I am buying it. Guys, I think this is the end of his career. There's no way that you can have such a poor food take and ever succeed in the NBA. I'm sorry. I think from now on, I'm off the Anthony Edwards bandwagon, even if he dunks all over poor third string power
Yuta Watanabe?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just can't get excited for his game anymore. This take is ridiculous. It's unfounded. It obviously shows a lack of interest in exploring flavor and textures.
Wait till he sees the like natural peanut butter with like the 4 inches of oil on top.
Ugh.
He's gonna be horrified.
Don't give up hope on this man. He's 20 years old.
He's 20, I know, but like
it takes a long time to open your mind to new things and new foods.
I get it.
Don't write him off. Also, technically, there was truth in some of the stuff he said.
What?
He said smooth peanut butter. He said crunchy peanut butter is harder to spread. That's factually true.
I don't know.
It's factually true.
How is it different?
Well, one doesn't have crunchy things that like start attacking
stuck.
the bread.
Yeah, you can tear the bread up.
I'm saying the crunchy stuff.
Kernels are in this case tiny pieces of nuts of truth here.
No,
fine. All right, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, Chuck's questioning everything.
I'll do my worst thing. My worst thing is actually we need a guest to get to the bottom of this. There is yet another report of toxic culture in the NBA. The Trailblazers, the latest Western Conference team to follow the fad of let's do an investigation into our toxic workplace. And they're investigating reports of Neil Olshey, the embattled GM, created a toxic workplace. And to get to the bottom of this, we have Sean Highkin from Bleacher Report.
Keith just turned into one of those like newsy boys on the street corner.
Report. Come get this report. Fresh off the press.
I'm going to try to get him. Hang on.
What's going on?
Not a whole lot. We just kind of threw it to you. Actually, we're waiting for John to come back. So I'll say, how's it going? And then I'll ask you about whatever you know about the allegations.
Sure. Now that basketball with the hand that's in your background, is that the phone?
That's the phone. Yeah. You have that too, right?
What is the logo on the back? Is it a Celtics? Because the one I had
nothing. It's just nothing.
The one that I had a Celtics logo on the back.
It has an opening for any logo, but there's blank. I need to find where they got that.
Okay.
Well, Sean, this is Jon and Chuck. I don't know if you know them.
I don't believe we've ever talked before.
Yeah, afraid not. Pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, all right. You ready?
Yeah.
We're on the market. All right. So, Sean, how's it going?
I'm doing okay. How about you guys?
Oh man, we're doing fantastic. You live out in Portland. You have covered the Trailblazers. You famously asked Neil Olshey about the Chauncey Billups investigation, to which he said, I appreciate you asking, Sean, which is just one of the great, it's a great sentence from any GM when he did not, in fact, want you to keep talking about it. But now Neil Olshey finds himself embattled with this, I don't know what you call it, this report, and the team is going to investigate reports of toxic workplace culture. Did I get it right? So fill us in on the details. What's going on out there?
That's, I think, about as much as anybody knows. I do not know what the specific complaint was that led to them opening up this investigation. I've, like everybody else out here, I've obviously been talking to people that I know in the organization and trying to kind of feel out what's going on and what people think might end up happening. Nobody really knows anything, or if they know anything, they're not really talking or telling people. So I don't know what the nature of this specific thing was that was, maybe reported to ownership. I have some theories on the timing, but I think the best that we can really piece together is that it's just a whole long track record of him not treating people below him very well. Like, I've heard stuff for years, not necessarily rising to the level of, oh, we need to do an ownership level investigation, but just kind of standard boss that everybody doesn't really like getting on the bad side of. And, he'll yell at you in front of everybody. And this is all kind of stuff that you've heard about the guy for years. And I have some theories on the timing. I'm kind of interested in why this is happening right now, but
I have a theory on that.
What is your theory on that, John?
It seems like it'd be a good time to cast the blame on almost anyone at this point, considering Dame Lillard is a player, in tumult, or has a decision to make, or could make a franchise altering request, as it were.
Well, okay, so I understand why that would be maybe where you would go with it. Dame has been, and I understand that, like, after the Denver series, he was pretty visibly upset about, how that series went. He's been pretty definitive since media day about not asking for a trade. Like, I get that was a thing the whole summer, and that there were different reports about all of that. And there was the report from Yahoo last week that he secretly met with LeBron over the summer. But the way that I kind of understand all of that is that he was pretty upset about it right after the Denver series. And then he kind of over the summer, he won a gold medal at the Olympics, and he got married, and he just kind of cooled off. And I think it's something that other people are bringing up, but at this point, I'm just kind of forced to take Dame at his word that he isn't thinking about leaving, or that's not really a thing. And I don't know if that necessarily has a lot to do with with the timing of this. I wonder, and this is not reporting. I've been trying to find out what's going on. Nobody's really talking to anybody.
People don't come to us for news.
This is a safe space for non-reporting.
Sure. But because there was a couple of weeks during the summer after the Chauncey stuff, and then after it kind of came out, there was the report in OPB and the report in Defector about how maybe they didn't actually investigate those allegations as thoroughly as Neil said that they did at the press conference. That there was like a week or so in there, maybe like mid-July, where I had thought that there was a chance that Neil might end up getting fired over that, or just because the backlash was so strong. That obviously did not happen, and it seems like that all kind of went away. My sense has always, and this is again just a theory on my part, but just so take it for what it's worth. I'm not reporting anything, but I wonder because my sense has always been, ever since Paul Allen died in 2018 and his sister Jody has effectively been the owner of the team and running things, she's been pretty hands-off. She's not really a basketball person, and so she's kind of been willing to let Neil run everything as long as the money keeps coming in. I have been at every home game so far, and there has been a lot of empty seats at these games. Now, I don't know how much of it you can attribute to fans being mad about the Chauncey stuff. I don't know how much of it you can attribute to just it's still being a pandemic and people don't really want to go sit in a 20,000 seat indoor arena. I would, if I had to guess, I think it's probably more so the latter than anything else. But if it's starting to affect the bottom line, they might be looking to cut costs. And given, with there being this, I think people in the organization have kind of felt a certain way about Neil and have not really liked working for him for years. I can't imagine that whatever was happening recently is the first time that ownership has been made aware of anything. But you have this investigation. I don't know what the timing of the investigation is going to be as far as how long it's going to take for them to interview everybody that they need to interview. But if it comes back with enough, then they can fire him for cause and not have to pay him. And I don't know how much money Neil makes, but I know that he got a big raise and extension after they made the Western Conference Finals in 2019. So I think he's one of the more highly paid front office executives in the league. So if they had just fired him this summer over, just the backlash to the Chauncey stuff, they would have probably had to pay him all that money. But if there's this investigation that they have to hire an outside firm for, and it comes back with all this stuff, then I think that might give them more grounds to do something and be able to get out of paying some of that money. That's one way that this could go. Of course, I mean, how many times have we thought, oh, this is going to be where Neil Olshey his run finally ends, and it doesn't happen. It's entirely possible that he comes out of this unscathed. Maybe he gets put on administrative leave at some point, but
the whole idea of we want to fire him, but we want to save money. So we're going to investigate toxic culture is some incredible, I don't know.
That's a great silver bullet. That's a great silver bullet.
like just, I don't know. It's so bizarre. And to think like this, if it's unrelated totally to the Chauncey Billups thing and they just had their own toxic workplace problems. And then non-lawyer me, have we defined what toxic workplace is? And is that like a fireable offense? That feels like a very, I don't know, like a modern sentiment of
like a catch-all.
Yeah, like our boss is abusive, and it's like, yeah.
Also, who exactly would be starting this investigation? Who would have been the person who's making this investigation go forward?
Toby in HR, I think.
Yeah,
Toby.
that's what I'm saying. Is there an internal system in the Blazers that would take care of this kind of stuff, or is it coming from above?
All we know right now is that it's at the ownership level that they're commissioning this investigation. So that would be Jody Allen and Burt Cole and possibly Chris McGowan, who's the president and CEO of Vulcan Sports, which is the company that owns the Blazers and the Seahawks. So
we could maybe come to a conclusion that if the money isn't coming in and the seats aren't being full, aren't full, and a decision was made that got a lot of flack in the community in Portland, that this could just be a byproduct of that kind of, we need a reason to fire him. Because the team's not bad enough to fire him right now. 500. They're not looking. I know Lillard's,
he's been off, but they've been winning some games.
But they've been winning. Yeah. So they got a road trip coming up, and I'm not sure if that may make them look worse because they play LA and Denver and Phoenix. But yeah, I'm just interested in the timing, and it does make me scratch my head about it all.
I think everybody is interested in the timing. And I think one other theory that maybe could, come into play here is that this is kind of coming on the heels of the report the other day from ESPN about Robert Sarver in Phoenix. Yeah. And now there's been, as far as I know, there hasn't been any alleged, racial or misogynistic component to any of this stuff with Neil Olshey. I mean, obviously you can't rule anything out, but as of right now, that hasn't come into play. So but the point being that other organizations might be looking at that coming out about Phoenix and saying, hey, if there's anything like this in our organization, maybe we need to get out ahead of it so that there's not some huge tell-all report that comes out about us. Now, obviously a huge difference between the Phoenix situation and Portland situation is that Robert Sarver owns the team. Neil just works here. So
right.
It's a lot harder of a process to if it were to come to this, force a guy who owns the team to sell the team, that's a much longer and more drawn out thing, as we saw, 7 or 8 years ago or whatever with the Donald Sterling situation with the Clippers. Whereas, Neil may be the most powerful person in the organization in terms of having autonomy about basketball decisions and just kind of anything else. But he still just works there. He doesn't own the team. They could fire him. It's just a matter of, I think they're trying to figure out a way to do it where they can get off the hook for some of that money that they owe him. That's just, it's still extremely early. We don't have a timetable on when this investigation might be concluded or how long it's going to take. And so this is all very early. And, I've been, trying to, reach out to people. I've, trying to feel people out. I think the general sentiment among people that I've talked to in the last 48 hours has been that more people think that he's going to end up being gone than not. But I don't think that's a lock by any means. And I will just say this also, I don't think there are very many people in the organization at any level who would really be upset if it were to go that way. It's kind of similar, honestly, to the dynamic about a month ago or 6 weeks or whatever of Gerson Rosas being let go by the Timberwolves. Not that it's similar allegations, because obviously the thing that kind of broke it with Gerson was he was having an affair with a staffer. I don't believe that that's
loudly and publicly.
Right. I don't think that that's really but my point is that it was something like that would have been something that people would be able to brush past and just kind of let slide if anybody in the building liked Gerson, but he was somebody that everybody kind of hated anyway. And so this was just a reason for them to get cause to actually let him go. I kind of think the same thing. I don't know what the complaint is that was made about him to HR or to ownership, to Neil Olshey this time. I don't know who made it. I don't know what the nature of the complaint was, but I would guess that it's probably a situation where in and of itself, this one thing might by itself not be enough to fire somebody. But if it's somebody that everybody in the organization just can't stand working for and people just want gone, then that might be enough to be the thing that pushes it over the top. That's kind of my read on it at this point. Gotcha.
Well, thanks, Sean. Appreciate you coming on. It sounds like we need to get a summary of every GM in the league to find out how many of them are actually hated. Well, turns out Rosas was hated. Terry Stotts maybe disliked strongly. A few defenders, so we can get on that. But anyway, Sean, appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk to you again sometime.
Yeah, good to talk to you guys.
All right, thanks man.
Sean.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and pick up if you can.
I didn't want to harsh Sean's mellow there.
Yeah.
I think there's an angle he's missing.
Yeah.
Allow me to put on my Jim Garrison Southern lawyer persona and posit that Daryl Morey, Your Honor, is getting Neil Olshey, Your Honor, either fired or lessening his power, Your Honor, so that the trade demands for one C.J. McCollum, Dame Lillard, or God knows what other assets the Trailblazers have will be lessened so that Ben Simmons may finally be put off to greener pastures, Your Honor.
I like this theory. I like the theory of Jeremy Morey submitting. He was submitting all the HR complaints to weaken Neil Olshey, to lessen his trade position as the Sixers.
Your Honor, you can follow a pattern of behavior. One Haralabos Vulgaris recently excised from the Dallas Mavericks for daring to come at the title of Dork Elvis.
Yeah.
You come at Morey. You're gonna need garlic crucifixes,
silver bullet, baby.
No, I think Daryl Morey's figured out this is his latest, Zag or other zig strategy, and not many of his competitors are long for this earth.
That is 5D chess, baby.
Galaxy. That is. John, did you? What's your worst thing? Have you done your worst thing yet?
I have not, and I know you saw this, Keith, because you were yucking it up on Twitter. But I don't miss my Nugs games. Yeah. But Michael Porter Jr. blowing a layup, faking an injury, and then only playing 7 minutes in his latest night.
I can't. Now there's no. It seemed like he was faking his injury.
Oh, come on!
Everyone's saying he's actually injured.
That's the classic. Make a.
No, it is. Like, you have to fake an injury when you miss a layup that badly. Yeah. I've never seen it before, where a guy misses a layup and then but he had two teams. It was a 3 on nobody. And the other two guys just took off running down the court. One of them, Will Barton, was slightly mad that Michael Porter Jr. did not throw it ahead to him. Like Michael Porter Jr. was well behind Will Barton. All Michael Porter Jr. had to do was pass it to Will Barton for the layup. And you see Will Barton put his hands up, and then he's like, oh, okay, I guess you're going to take it. And then he just turned, he's like, well, fine, I'm just leaving. But then Monte Morris also just turned around, assumed the layup was going to go in.
Amazing clip.
The fact that he missed it does lend to him getting injured because he got no elevation whatsoever.
Yeah,
so
he didn't dunk it, but still, it was a demonstrable, like, hey, there's a reason I missed this.
He seems to be actually injured, John. I don't think
it was
faking.
Shades of Rodney Dangerfield and Caddyshack. I think I broke my arm.
Hey, I'm trying to walk a tightrope here of being respectful and non-controversial, but it raised question marks. Much like Ben Simmons' claims of mental health problems raised question marks. We're like, all right, this is a taboo subject. We're not supposed to criticize, but like when you announce your intentions to hold out and then they say you can't hold out, and then that's when you present like, oh, I'm under mental distress. That's when it becomes like, what are we supposed to do here? I don't know. I understand the Sixers being upset. I understand people being upset at the Sixers. It's just a very, very strange situation. It's best we move on. Those were our worst things. Before we get to the awards segment of the program, we have a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questionnaire.
Miles asks, put on your thinking caps, gentlemen. What is the worst NBA team of all time? He has some contenders I'd like you to consider before I throw out. Let's skip this one.
Let's do one question.
Okay.
This is the second one.
All right.
That takes research. We have
I did a lot of it.
we'll use it next week.
Yeah, that's no problem.
We have a single listener submitted question. The croissant questionnaire.
We spoke to him earlier. We're speaking to him again. Magnus asks, the newest animated basketball movie, Space PB and Jam 3, is coming, and this time it's getting weird. The Monstars are back, having stolen the powers of Gary Payton, Marcus Smart, Tony Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Ben Wallace. You get to pick 5 players from any moment in NBA history to face them. But here's the twist. While your team thinks it is playing to win, you can only save the world by them achieving the combined highest International Stackhouse of Pancakes score total in the galaxy. Who do you pick to stack the pancake odds in your favor and save Earth?
Well, this is very simple. I mean, I think we need to limit his question. It was a very, very long question to ask us who are the greatest negative fantasy basketball players of all time. Have you heard of a man named Joe Fulks?
Jumping
man
Joe
shot 30% from the field for this season.
Bob Cousy got to be on the list.
I feel like we got to limit it to like the post merger or something. Like it's all 1940s and 50s players. Like Bob Mikan was the greatest player ever, and his stats stink.
George Mikan.
That's fine. I like Bob Mikan better.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to go with some more recent players.
Let's go with some recent players.
I was going to adjust for
recent
era.
negative players. Okay.
I hate to do this. I hate to put Shaq on the top 70, the top 50 greatest players of all time already, but I'm going to make arguments for Jalen Suggs and Kevin Porter Jr. If you just look at the titanic fight Keith and I have had all week in our Patreon-only Fastbreak Breakfast iShop League, just two, like, if you thought, Larry Bird versus Dominique Wilkins was an all-time battle. Clyde Drexler versus Michael Jordan was an all-time battle. To see the haymakers exchanged by young studs, Jalen Suggs and Kevin Porter Jr. is the likes of which that I'll remember into my golden years.
If we're talking just about player peaks, John, yes. Yeah. I think rookie season already, Jalen Suggs is up there. I would take the best negative fantasy players we've ever had as far as their negative game score. You just look
Garrett
at like
Temple.
Garrett Temple classic. But like I was thinking like Kemba Walker, rookie year.
Oh,
Terry Rozier, rookie year, also this year.
Terry Rozier now.
Oh, so this year.
I think those are some to consider. Killian Hayes, every game he plays. As long as Killian Hayes is shooting 30%. Actually, I'd like to recognize right now, this is as good as moment as any. I'd like to recognize the players in the NBA who are still shooting under 25% from the field for the season. These are the guys. They're why I wake up.
Make sure
in the
you
morning.
read this in a hush tone, please.
These players are still shooting under 25% from this for the season. Also, man, I guess we're here.
This should read like when the Oscars announce all the dead actors.
I'm going to take care of a lot of business right now. I was going to do this later. Let's go ahead and do our Jacques Watch update. Since we are reading off the list of players still shooting under 25% from the field, we have some terrible Jacques Watch news. We have no players really in contention right now. Unfortunately, Aaron Nesmith made his 11th field goal attempt of the season.
And then I think he made his 12th and 13th.
His Jacques Watch is over. We had a very exciting run of Semi Ojeleye. Semi Ojeleye is he made it to 0 for 11. He made it halfway to the 0 for 22 from Jacques Vaughn's 2001-2002 season. He made it halfway there before making a field goal. Our leader right now, I mean, we do have a guy. Killian Tilly of the Grizzlies is currently the clubhouse leader. He's 0 for 7 on the season. So that's the best we got. But I'm worried. Semi Ojeleye's 0 for 11 is going to be the highest we get in the Jacques Watch this season. But I still like to recognize the guys who were shooting still under 25% from the season. You have Aaron Nesmith, 6 for 24. Teo Maladon, who I've been pointing out for a while, is terrible. 7 for 29 for the year, 24%. Torian Prince, 8 for 34. Cade Cunningham, 13 for 56. Cade Cunningham for 4 games, shooting 23%. Also, shout out him. Did he miss his first 18 3-pointers? It was
his only made 3 was a half-court heave.
Yeah, that's pretty good. He's up to 4 makes now. Then we go to Sterling Brown, the great actor, is shooting 21% from the field this season. Javon Carter, 17.9% from the field.
Take that, Javon Carter's mom.
Actually bad. I might have called it a long time ago. And then Semi Ojeleye. Semi doesn't quite count yet. He's not up to 20 field goal attempts, but Semi is 2 for 17 on the season. Any one of those guys, going back to Magnus's question, I think would be excellent in the role of all-time great negative fantasy players. I actually also did a little bit of research to look up some like all-time nothing seasons, because our negative fantasy score rewards playing time and not doing anything, like Avery Bradley putting up that 20 minutes and no stats. I think the greatest players ever, we're talking Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen, 42% from the field, 68% from the line, 8
and
points.
Will step on a Monstar's foot
in like 35 minutes per game. Bruce Bowen with all-time great scores. Doug Christie had some years where his stats were just nothing. If you're the 5th starter on a team and you're averaging 38 minutes and you're getting like 8 points, that leads us to PJ Tucker, the greatest player of the last 5 years in negative fantasy.
Where does Jerry himself?
And the great Jerry Stackhouse, I haven't run the numbers. I don't know. Jerry Stackhouse would put up some big numbers, but he also
Magnus, get on this
stats. We'll have to look it up. Also, like late career Antoine Walker, one of the great chuckers.
Whole career Antoine Walker.
Ever
except in 06, he was great.
Even like a Thabo Cephalosha, maybe. Just you're all-time do nothing guys. Like you're a glue guy, but you didn't actually get in the box score. That's bad in negative fantasy. I think some of these names. Chuck, you have any names you want to throw out for the worst shooters or the worst who you think would put up the best negative game scores?
I don't know. I mean, they're all my chuckers actually score points, and that kind of is against.
Kind of hurts you. Here's
Mike
one.
Gilbert Arenas is in my.
Here's a Miami Heat player for you. I think would have done great. PJ Brown.
Ooh,
because there's not a lot of stats. Guy. Just not a lot of stats. Like
What about Sherman Douglas? Would that have been a good Heat player?
I don't remember. I don't remember Sherman Douglas's efficiency offhand.
Neither do I.
But anyway, I think we kind of answered it. I think let's go. Do we want to name an official?
I want the old guard to be represented by Joe Fulks and Bob Cousy. I think that's
Fulks and Cousy are our best players. We'll take one from this year, maybe. Actually, let's say Killian Hayes. He's got 2 years of work now, and he's.
I think Jalen Suggs is the Killian Hayes spot. Like I just can't believe what I'm seeing. I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
We have seen in years past, like a Cam Reddish. who put up spectacular numbers for half a season, and then he put it together in the second half of the year. So I'm too nervous. If we're fighting for our lives against Monstars, I'm too nervous to put Jalen Suggs's 10 games into this. I'd rather have a proven performer like a PJ Tucker or a Garrett Temple.
We need an 80s, 90s representative, someone from that era. I'm not quite sure who we can go for. We need an unrepentant chucker. I was thinking. Go ahead, Keith. You were saying.
I was going to say for a late 80s, early 90s representative. This name popped in my head. He's got a local Nashville connection. This man played minutes and all he did was foul. Never scored. Didn't even get rebounds. Will Purdue.
Ooh, gotta have a big man too. Gotta have a big man.
Probably put up some great negative fantasy scores.
Yeah, gotta have a big man. And then last but not least, for me, no iShop team will be complete without the namesake himself, Jerry Stackhouse.
That is fair. I think you might as well put him on there. I think that wraps it. Thanks for the question, Magnus. Thanks to everybody else who submitted your own questions. If you missed the bonus video we put up last week answering even more of your questions, make sure you go to patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Check out the video there. If you want to submit your own question to be answered on air, you have to be a Patreon supporter, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. If you want to play Pickle Pick'em, the month has just started. Essentially, we're about a weekend, but we have a winner each month, and I have an announcement. We are doubling the prize pool. Instead of just giving a reward to the first place winner each month, if you fill out your form each day, we're giving a reward to the last place person too.
The Trout Award.
We pick the games against the spread Monday through Thursday. A prize is given to the worst score and the best score. So maybe about halfway through the season, you see which way you're going. All right. Maybe I need to start trying to miss my picks. Missing picks just as hard as picking them right. So
might be harder.
This is just a random award given to Patreon supporters. Now instead of giving out one, we're giving out two.
Let's do it.
It's gonna be great. So if you want to join up, that game will start anew in December. If you feel sad about missing out on November, patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right, moving to the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given each week to the worst performance in a box score. This season just does not stop with the unbelievable performances thrown out there. The effort these players are putting in to put up horrible statistics. I'm noticing it. I want you to know it has not gone unappreciated. These are honorable mentions. These aren't even nominees. Honorable mention. Kevin Porter Jr., 2 for 14. Cade Cunningham, 2 for 14. Miles Bridges and Cole Anthony, both 4 for 18. Damian Lillard, 5 for 20. Karis LeVert, 6 for 21. Trae Young, 6 for 22. And despite all of that, we still have 4 nominees as they occurred chronologically through the week. Jordan Clarkson, in a win against the Kings, had 2 points on 1 of 13 field goals.
And
1 for 13, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block. That's kind of cool. 1 turnover, 3 personal fouls. Jeremy Grant, in a loss to the Nets. Speaking of negative fantasy scores, he played 39 minutes, was 0 for 9, 5 points. Yes. 5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, 3 turnovers, no personal fouls. Maybe try. Paul George, in a win against the Timberwolves, was 4 for 20, a natural 4 for 20, had 21 points.
There it is.
11 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 6 turnovers, 4 personal fouls. That is an abysmal game and a win. But can it be overcome by the people's champion, Russell Westbrook, in a loss to the Portland Trailblazers? Russ, 1 for 13, 8 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 6 turnovers, 3 personal fouls. I think we throw out Jordan Clarkson because Russell's is worse.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant's is fun, but it doesn't rise to the quality. We have a tough choice here. We have Chuck and Paul George doing a natural 420. Paul George 4 for 20, but 21 points, 11 boards, 6 assists, 3 steals, 6 turnovers. Against Russell Westbrook's 1 for 13. 8 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, 6 turnovers. I'm firmly Westbrook. Chuck, are you gonna play to your stereotype?
So, like, I'm supposed to vote for 4 for 20 no matter what.
It usually wins hands down.
Usually it's the worst thing that there is. And I'm, for a long time, 420 was an important number for me. No longer is in my current sober mindset. So maybe it's time for a change. I did watch that Russell Westbrook disaster show. It was, and I also caught the Clippers Wolves game. I didn't notice how bad Paul George was in that game. It didn't come across in the play.
Well, we don't want to have your box score be influenced by what you saw with your eyes. This is purely what's printed on the page. This is not nuanced analysis.
This is box score alone. I get it. But, man, sorry, dude. It's you, Russie. You got it, man. You got my vote.
You make it unanimous?
Well, don't worry, Chuck. I'll vote for the 420. Puff, puff, pass. 20, twin.
I'm glad you did the right thing, Chuck, because Russ needs this. This award was his.
It was for him.
1 for 13, 6 turnovers. That's a
6 turnovers is a beautiful
game.
thing.
And that brings us to the now lethal lottery. This is the year-long game where Chuck, John, and myself play against each other, try to end up with not the best player. We try to pick the worst players on the nationally televised games on TNT. Last week, I used the silver ball and used my powers to swap out DeAndre Ayton for Chuck's pick of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and I came out as the winner with that. But less important who won, it's more important who lost. Chuck, who I gave Ayton to, lost because Ayton turns out got injured and did not play. So based on the Carlisle rule, where you have to be top 8 in your team's minutes in that game, Chuck, you now have one lethal lottery point, which is bad. You're tied at the bottom of the standings with John, who also has one lethal lottery point. I have skated through scot-free.
Unscathed.
I'm winning with 0 lethal lottery points. Let's do the drawing this week. Chuck, you lost. You get to draw first from the Jack-O-Lantern. Here we have the magical ball being pulled. You get a silver ball or a stern ball.
Oh, Chuck with the sterny boy.
Chuck gets the stern ball. You get to pick between Bucks, Sixers, and Clippers, Trailblazers. So, which game would you like, Chuck, with your all-powerful stern ball, where you can swap whichever player John and I get? Of course, if you lose with the stern ball, that's a -2. You get 2 lethal lottery points, which is very terrible.
I'm going to go with Joel Embiid.
From the Sixers game, Joel Embiid. You've chosen Bucks, Sixers. So now, John, I guess you, John, will select next. John and I have to compete with. We need to pick the worst player that will entice Chuck to not trade with us. You want to pick the second worst player, I guess.
So we're in Bucks, Sixers.
We're in Bucks, Sixers. We don't want Chuck to pick us to give us Joel Embiid, probably.
Okay, I could get weird here.
There's a lot of strategy here.
I could take the recently fiery and non-eye shoppy Grayson Allen, Chuck.
Yeah.
22 points the other night, raining down threes.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Getting the steals. There's a lot of ways to play this, but I think I'm going to go with the red hot 6-man Shake Milton.
Ooh.
So you're picking Shake Milton.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing very well.
Very well indeed. But
I'm
sometimes doesn't make a shot at all. Also, if Danny Green comes back,
I'm going to select Drew Holiday. I'm taking Drew Holiday of the Bucks.
Who do I want?
Who do you think is
you also can just saddle one of us with a loss. That's the
beauty.
You
also could likely saddle. Yeah. If you want to level the playing field and give me Joel Embiid, that would do it.
This is a game theory game, Chuck, more so than even basketball itself.
I'm going to go with Yeah, let's ruin Keith's life. So I'll give Keith Joel Embiid, and I'll take Drew Holiday from him.
That works. So I will
trying to give us all a point apiece in this.
I will take Joel Embiid and hopefully hope for a negative game for him. And
it's happened.
And maybe stick Chuck with the worst game. So that's how we will play it out this Tuesday night. Will be very, very exciting to see what happens. Par fadeaway, gentlemen. What things are we looking forward to in the coming week? Chuck, what are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to reminding you that Tyler Hero is averaging 21 points per game this season.
Thank you for getting there. This is the I Need a Hero Watch update. We had a lot of fun with Tyler Hero. Scored 6 points in a game on Friday, then bounced back with a big game in a win against the Jazz.
The Heat looked like hot garbage against a Celtics team that just had a team meeting because, that's how you make things happen.
They've had so many team meetings.
They've also had Marcus Smart calling out Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum for not passing the ball, and it's an incredible little thing that's going on.
Marcus Smart showed who the captain was now after making that foul. Taking that foul against the Mavericks.
But, right now I'm very happy with my boys. Tyler Hero is averaging 21.3 points per game. I want to watch them play the Nuggets, though, on Monday. That's what I'm parfading to.
We have bet, if the listeners don't know, we've also bet between me and Chuck whether or not Tyler Hero will average 18 points or more this season. He only needs to average 17.6 points now for the remainder of the season. He's given himself a buffer with this hot start to the season, averaging 21 points per game. Also, your guy, Duncan Robinson, he was launching a lot of 3-pointers recently. And here's just a wild stat, because that's why we're here. He attempted 17 3-pointers in a game. He became just the 45th player in NBA history to attempt at least 17 3-pointers in a game, at least 70 3-pointers. The top two, Steph Curry and James Harden, they've done it 54 times.
Woo! Wow.
The other 43 players have combined to do it just 61 times. So essentially Harden and Curry have done it as much as the other 43. And wait, what's that song? Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage. A game of scones, gentlemen. Name the other 43 players in NBA history to attempt at least 17 3-pointers in a game. We're going to play foul out rules. We're going to go until you miss 5. The scoring system is you get as many points as the number of games they attempted 17 or more 3-pointers. So you have to pick, besides Steph Curry, besides James Harden, and also besides Duncan Robinson, the pool is now down to 42 players. Name the 42 players who have attempted at least 17 3-point field goals in a game before. Chuck, why don't you go first?
Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson is correct. He's done it 1 time. That's 1 point for Chuck.
Kobe
Bryant has done it 4 times. That's a 4-pointer way downtown from John.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant has never done it. That is a strike. That's 1 foul for Chuck.
I would have also missed that, Chuck. I think Fred VanVleet has done this.
Fred VanVleet has. It feels like he has. He has not. It's a foul for John.
Okay. Whoopsie daisy.
Carmelo Anthony.
Yes.
Carmelo Anthony has never gotten up 17 3-pointers in one game.
We got to change the way
we're foul for Chuck.
I am confident that Buddy Hield has done this.
Buddy Hield has done this 4 times. John is up to a huge, monumental 8-1 lead over Chuck.
Game time, Dame time.
Damian Lillard, Chuck with a big 5-pointer. Damian Lillard has done this 5 times, tied for the 3rd most behind Harden and Curry. It is now 8-6. John in the lead, and the pick is to John.
Let's stay in hipster hell. CJ McCollum.
CJ McCollum is too bashful to ever do this. That is a second foul. So the score is 8-6, John. Both players with 2 fouls. Go, Chuck.
Kemba Walker.
Kemba Walker has done it one time. Well played. 8-7. Chuck slices into the lead.
PG, are you with me? Paul George.
Paul George has done it one time. Well done. 9-6. 9-6.
Won't lie, that
score.
was a slight miracle. And I also am hoping to watch the Clippers and Hornets tonight, and was the only reason I thought of it.
Let's go with the top of the list. What about Ray Allen?
Ray Allen has done it 2 times.
Yes.
Chuck, very well played. It is 9-8. Excuse me, it's tied up. 9-9. 9-9.
Has Joe Harris ever done this?
No, he would get taken out of the game. No, it's not. That's 3 fouls for John. Kind of in a little bit of foul trouble, college basketball style.
Bit. Yeah.
9-9. We got a game.
Ray Allen did it. I'm hoping Reggie Miller did it.
Reggie Miller never did it.
What?
Reggie Miller never did it.
I can kind of believe it. Sometimes he'd turn it off. Sometimes he'd turn it off.
It was just uncouth back then.
Yeah, it was just bad. Yeah, it was bad manners.
Although there are some guys who are I'll tell you, there are some of Reggie Miller's contemporaries who are on the list. So
really,
but Reggie Miller too efficient, I guess. Yeah, he never did it.
Some of Reggie Miller's contemporaries. You've messed with me now. I'm going to stay in the current era, and I'm going to say Devontae Graham.
Devontae Graham checking my nope. That is your 4th foul.
Oh Lord.
We're almost to a foul out. Chuck, can you break the tie? Make him sweat.
JJ Redick.
No, JJ Redick has never done it. Both players with 4 fouls. We're tied at 9. This is very exciting. John. I haven't thought of a tiebreaker. I still have time.
Lord. D'Angelo Russell.
That is correct. From way downtown. D'Angelo Russell has done it one time. John ekes ahead 10-9.
What about Bradley Beal?
Bradley Beal has never done it. And Chuck has fouled out. John is the winner. The big one you missed.
Do I have to seal it since I went second?
No, you have the win. Good. I'll say J.R. Smith did it 5 times.
Oh,
what?
And then there's a collection of like 40 dudes who
can I have a couple of swings because I had a couple in my head.
Go ahead. What are your final swings?
I had Damon Stoudemire and Jason Tatum.
So Stoudemire, yes. Tatum, no. Stoudemire's one I knew offhand because he had the record for missed 3-pointers for a very, very long time.
Yeah. I think that must have been bandied about.
And I think we've talked about that several times on the
Eric. What about Eric Gordon?
Eric Gordon, no. Alan Crabb, yes. Jordan Clarkson, yes. Robert Covington, yes. Wayne Ellington. Oh, Eric Gordon is correct. I'm sorry. That was correct. That would have been correct.
Oh, well done.
He's on the list. Yes. Danny Green, Gerald Green, Tim Hardaway Jr., Kyrie, Zach LaVine.
Maybe Luka.
Just a few. Luka's actually never done it. Back when they moved the line up in 95, 96 era, you had Dennis Scott, George McLeod, Vernon Maxwell all got up a bunch.
George McLeod.
George McLeod had some incredible 3-point. He had that one year. Go look it up on Basketball Reference. There's 1 year George McLeod launching 3-pointers that just sticks out. It's spectacular. Anyway, John, what's your parfait to win?
Okay, well, you're not an NBA hipster if you're not tuned in on Wednesday night. Yet again, to the 2 hippest teams in the league, Grizzlies, Hornets.
Ooh,
come on! That's just a beautiful thing.
It's going to be good. Hornets suffering through a West Coast trip, not going.
Yeah, they are
great for them.
The Kings mopped the floor
like you do.
Yeah, the Hornets lost by like 30 twice. You had the Warriors. So the Warriors are a team I'm keeping my eye on. The Warriors over the last week, they're averaging 53 pointers per game.
Yeah.
Like they're shooting 20 for 50 on average from 3. And I don't normally try to find like a storyline, but we're all focused on games this week, and that's totally cool. I'm excited about Monday night. You have the Hawks and the Warriors. You have a Warriors team who's 8-1, but their schedule kind of really easy.
Right.
Their best win, I guess, is opening night against the Lakers. They beat the Clippers by 2.
The Hawks are just breaking down at end of games. The Hawks I've been watching their games, and they're playing well against teams like the Suns and really quality teams, but then at the end of games just falling apart. I do think the Hawks are better than it appears.
So like the Hawks are quote unquote struggling. They're 4-6, but like they've played this really, really tough schedule. They've lost at the Sixers, at the Nets. They've lost to the Jazz. They've lost.
Fine. Yeah.
Like, yeah, they lost at the Suns, like lost at the Wizards, which is no shame there. I'm only saying that as a Grizzlies fan because they got destroyed. But like the Warriors are in an 8-game homestand. The Warriors haven't played a back-to-back this season. So like them being 8-1, the Hawks as like the team that lost the finals and struggling through this season so far. I'm really focusing on that game to see if we can see a bounce back and see maybe a little tiny upset with the Hawks there. Otherwise, the Warriors, who is going to step up to their level because they're playing really, really well, getting those threes up. Draymond looks reborn as he does.
He dunked
from time to time.
He dunked the other day and he looked incredible.
Oh man, he's like
that dunk was insane.
I mean, he's always been good. And
I know.
Like people are doing the healthy Porzingis is a problem. It's that can happen for anyone.
Yeah, healthy Porzingis had a really nice finish in the game against the Wizards. I mean, in the Celtics, but he also had like
probably goaltending.
The Porzingis we see where they swing it to him in the final moments of the game, and he just slams a missile off the backboard. That doesn't have it's like it hit the backboard with such ferocity. It sounded like a gunshot going off. Dealey Plaza flashbacks going back to Jim Garrison. Anyway,
back and to the left.
On that, I guess I will wrap the show up. If you're in the Memphis area, make sure you go check out on Monday night the Timberwolves game, Grizzlies Timberwolves. It's on November 8th. It's tonight, Monday, November 8th at 7 p.m. Get Memphis and get your tickets today by calling 901-888-HOOP. Also, if you want to attend a Grizzlies game in style, you want to view that next gen Grizz and a little touch of class, get an exclusive suite night at the FedEx Forum. 8-person suites start at $115 per ticket. You can enjoy a private single game suite plus parking with friends, family, colleagues, or clients. A limited number of suite nights are available. So visit grizzlies.com/suites today before they're gone. If you want to support our show, you can do that directly at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Join our Slack chat, get exclusive bonus content. Also, I think our t-shirts might still be on sale over at TeePublic. Go check those out. You can follow me on Twitter, Fastbreak Break. Follow John, Master John Burr, Chuck, the Mighty Chuck. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
All right, boys.
All right, guys.
Peace.
Yeah.
See you guys. Good work.